There you go. Congratulations.
Lori and Kim, they win.
Congrats,
Very well
Kim.
done.
Nice.
Very well
First
done.
you take my job, now you're taking
Did I just hear you say congratulations? Wow.
No, we rock. And look at Judy, man. She used to be like the queen.
Used to be. Did you hear that, Judy?
What's her name again?
Lori, I love you, Judy. I have to just give you that.
Thanks. See you Saturday in
Lord,
Laser.
no, you
Yes,
did.
you're on the air.
Yes, see you on Saturday. I don't think so. All right.
The shiv.
All right, hold on, everybody. We'll get your information. Send all the stuff to you. Plus a. I think we still have headshots of Judy from like 1986 or something here.
I know. I love
I've
that
seen 'em.
picture. Yeah.
That's kind of a good one.
Is that the one where I'm lying across the newsroom? No.
There's a headshot. You could see when what were you, 22 or something when you got here?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, right there.
maybe not even 18.
No.
So were you legal? What was going
now
on?
I tell people 10, but
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah,
was
like 22.
20-something.
20, yeah. And Judy had a very come hither kind of headshot, but that was the thing in radio at that point.
It
was
was.
that you wanted to everybody wanted to kind
I
of
didn't
sex
want
it up.
They made me do that. And I'm not kidding. There was a shot of all of us, and I was lying across the desk
I think I've seen that shot somewhere.
in front of everyone, and everyone's standing behind me. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God!
I did not want to do it. They asked me unpleasantly to do it, and so I said, "Okay, I love being here. Thank you."
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's a memory.
I don't know what happened to that one.
Oh my God! That must have made Wally Phillips' radio needle stand up.
And no one seemed to care.
No one seemed to care that. Were you
And
protesting?
I did last 32 years, so, did I care?
That's
Not
true.
really.
Well, it's funny because now it would be like a whole. Yeah, I mean, you could take down a company for that.
Right.
That's a Harvey
I
Weinstein
thought it was
moment.
weird, but it wasn't at all sexual, but it was a strange thing to have
ask
me
the
do. And
22-year-old woman to
and
do
I
that.
mean, they sent that picture out to a lot of listeners. One of them might still have it.
But the worst part is if you get fired, Robert Feeder would have printed that in the Chicago Sun-Times. Because that would be the one headshot that he had
Yeah,
of
exactly.
Judy lying on the desk.
my
and then
goodness.
and then the readers in the 1990s of Robert Feeder in the Sun-Times.
Of course she got fired.
Yeah,
She wants to
right.
do work. Look at
We
her.
all
That's
did
not
that.
professional.
How awful is that?
Now I don't care so much, but yeah.
All right, well, if people want to see Judy, and like I said, I'm going to work this one more time.
I'll be lying on a couch
Yeah.
at Goodwill.
If you want to meet Judy not on Tinder, you can go to the Goodwill store in Lake Zurich, which is at 746 South Rand Road on Saturday from noon until 2. And it's going to be just fun because these things, they turn into, parties.
Oh,
more
it's a
than
party,
anything.
all right.
Yeah.
We have free food, free dessert, tons of free giveaways.
Right. I love how you do that. You
Oh,
get
yeah.
Prizes.
It's nice, yeah. And we usually get a good crowd. Oh, and among the prizes we're giving away, Chicago Bears tickets. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Not for London, I bet.
Every man there is there for those Chicago Bears tickets.
No,
and
that's
I'm
what they're
okay
doing.
with that.
They're giving away Bears tickets for London, and they're saying you have to fly yourself. It's tomorrow. Good luck.
Get out of here.
And that's for a game to be determined.
But that's still
yeah,
amazing.
that's a really great prize.
That's a
to give
big
away.
deal.
Yeah, it's a very big deal. So get out there, people.
That's what the people like.
I mean, I'm the biggest deal, but then there are the Chicago Bears tickets.
Sure, everybody wants.
Maybe they'll take you, whoever wins the tickets.
Yeah, maybe they will. They haven't offered yet.
No.
But there's always a first. Yeah.
Very cool.
Judy, would you go with me to the game?
Not with you and not on your life.
I really want you to go with me to the football game, Judy.
You're not going to leave your basement cellar. That dude's still around, huh?
Well, Thanksgiving he comes
Only
out.
when you're here.
That's what happens.
Oh, gosh, yeah, I think I might know him.
I've always liked you. I've actually loved you, Judy Pielach, especially that picture of you lying
I bet
on
he
the
has
desk
it.
with the whole news desk.
See, that guy's still got it.
I
He's
made
got it
wallpaper out of that, Judy Pielach.
I don't know why that makes me laugh. It's just dumb, but it does.
Every time, I know. Only when you come out and Thanksgiving we hear from Creepy Uncle.
Yeah, you should come back, Judy. You should come back, spend more time with us.
Why not?
I might. You never know.
All right.
All right.
Might buy out so much
I didn't mean
stuff.
that. I don't know why she took that seriously.
I think you did mean that, and I will be back. Thank you.
Well, you know what? We are gonna. We got something planned for the Christmas time, and I remember last year at the Christmas show, which was your swan song, and it never ended.
gosh.
It was like a tribute to Judy.
It's still
that
going
just
on.
went- right,
People
still going
still
on.
are posting that picture.
They literally had to burn the place down like a week
right.
later to try to get Judy out of there.
To restart, and
Yeah.
now it's a new beginning, and I'm back.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've still got that Santa suit.
Yep. This is, you know what, you're like those like people who, retire and then they're back. You're like the Who. They've retired like 15 times.
Yeah, I'm Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're back. Oh, yeah, back one more tour.
Yeah. Well, okay, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just one more.
All right, it's the Rokon Show with Anna Duplantis right here on 720
We
WGN.
convinced Judy to stay, so
Yes.
Judy Pielach stays with us.
Judy can.
Obviously, you guys need ratings. I'll stay.
She worked her microphone and everything. I like that.
That's right. I know where the button is now.
Back in the saddle.
Yeah, thank you for helping,
take
Judy,
long.
as always.
You
If
bet.
people have
Very helpful.
if
I have a very big heart.
people have questions for Judy, 312-981-7200. Oh, I would love that. Ask Judy. You know what? Whatever your problem, ask Judy, and Judy will give you an empathic, lovely.
know
She's
what?
like a Marianne Williamson
Sometimes the truth hurts, but the truth is important.
Sometimes we're not ready to hear the truth either. That's
too
not a
bad.
problem.
She's like Dr. Laura without the tact.
I'm like Judgy Judy.
Yeah, right. That is really true.
is.
That's my
That's
favorite
perfect.
costume. Remember, I was Judge Judy for one of our Halloween
Yes.
soirees,
Right.
and I changed it to Judgy Judy, and I just told people the whole day when I thought about them.
Which was different than
I
most
was like,
days.
hey,
How?
Jude, lose a few pounds, okay, and maybe she'll look at you.
Yeah. See?
Oh, I worked that
I know.
room.
I know. Yeah.
I made no friends that day.
And I just went home and binge ate after that.
You're like,
I think I made you cry. I told you a couple of things you needed to hear too.
Yeah. Oh. Oh God. I mean, yeah.
Anna was safe.
Yeah.
She's not
thank you.
safe. Yeah.
Not as
I have
bad.
respect for Judy.
Not as bad as what everybody else tells me. All right. It's gotten worse, Judy. I don't know. And
Well,
just this last year.
maybe you should take heed. It gets worse when you need the most help. Con.
I got that thing. All right. And how many? Let's see. How many years were you here?
32.
32 years. Started when you were very, very young.
Yeah, 6.
Lass.
Yeah.
And you, and we were just talking, it's funny because a little bit on the history of WGN, because you're one of you were there through all of these eras. You arrived in the heyday of, the great Uncle Bobby, right?
Wally Phillips.
Wally Phillips was,
Just easing out. Yeah, I think
they
Bob
moved him
Collins
to
was-
afternoons,
Yeah,
right?
well, Bob Collins was afternoons, and then they switched.
Right.
And then Spike came along.
John Williams came
John
along, and not
Williams.
too long after
Yeah.
that. And and then when Spike came along, then they moved. Spike was in afternoons, then they moved him to morning, and then they flipped out again, right? They flipped Bob Collins to the afternoons.
Yes.
But what a time to be here, because I imagine you grew up listening
Yeah.
to Wally Phillips, and you sort of then get to
Everyone who
work
lived in
with him.
Chicago,
You did,
yeah.
right? I mean, I
know.
did. I grew
Yeah.
up. My dad
He
listened
wasn't
to
my
him.
bag so much, except then when I worked here and got to know him, then I loved him. I mean, it was
interesting.
more my parents.
You
I'm
had,
not that old.
yeah, but you had to. But the one interesting thing I think about Wally Phillips, more than anything, was if you listened to him long enough, you got that he was doing 2 shows.
Right.
He was doing a show for Grandma, right? So the grandma would feel good winning her Ladybug wristwatch, and then there was a show for the younger folks that was. There was always an aside about something that was really, if you wanted to interpret it as dirty as hell, it was.
Yeah, it was undergrad. He always reminded me a little bit of Bob Bell. Bozo,
Yeah.
who I thought was very much like that. It was he had that little streak in him that was really for those
You
of
almost
us
picked
who-
up on it a little bit as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, what did he mean by that?
But then he made you laugh and you didn't care.
You didn't
but yeah,
care.
that was Wally Phillips. You're right.
So when I was a kid, I had friends who that lived up in Wisconsin, and Wally had a place up there as well, near Lake Geneva.
Oh.
And they Wally had become friends with these folks, and so I was. This is now I turned into an adult, and we always heard about Wally Phillips, and my parents listened to it and everything, and I would hear these stories from my friend about his family, and that they would have these parties, and it was like yeah,
Kind of parties.
yeah, well,
Put
it
your
was
keys in
interesting.
a dish party?
So a couple of years ago, I was up visiting my friend in Wisconsin. They still kept the house in their family, and he pulls out these records, these LP, vinyl records that were then known as party records, and they were literally with very scantily clad women on the front, and it was all bawdy jokes and crazy other sorts of hypersexual things. And he pulls them out. And I go, "Wow, what was this about?" He goes, "Wally Phillips gave these to my parents."
Oh my
And
God.
maybe as a joke, I mean,
no,
yeah.
I totally believe that.
It's kind of a funny
Absolutely.
moment.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, and you have that moment where you're like, oh my God, he was very body.
Yeah.
And he was body. And it was strange though, because if you listen
He hit it
closely,
well.
He did.
kind of.
I thought so.
But you also got it.
Right.
He would also like throw something at you that you were like, oh.
Yeah.
Did he really mean that? He must not have meant
See,
that.
and I got that later when I was older, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And knowing him just personally, yeah.
Right.
I
Then you got to
totally
see
get
it
it.
because he let loose off the microphone.
That's
I'd
why
imagine.
I bring up Bob Bell when I was an intern at Channel 9 during the Bozo Circus heydays. And he, in his suit would come into the lunchroom before his show and just like any other guy or like a guy who really liked the girls.
Flirt with you a little.
Bozo?
Bozo, yes. And then he would
I can take this red nose off.
Yeah, how attractive is a guy wearing half clown suit? I mean,
no,
like
he
what?
wasn't. He was totally in a nice suit, and he also, because as I recall back then, it was during the Civil War, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
He also was the announcer.
Yes, he was.
Because I used to bring him copy as an intern, run in and give him copies. So yeah, I mean, he was like one of those. I'm not kidding you. Kind of guys.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, orange hair was sexy then. It's back now.
Totally
Orange
is.
hair, very sexy.
Ginger, yeah.
Yeah. It's very
Like
interesting.
Prince Harry.
I had always heard stories about the whole Bozo show where it was because they're like it's a kid show, right? So they would they'd go out, they'd smoke cigarettes in the parking lot, right before the show.
Yeah.
And then
I think they would smoke him right outside the door of the studio.
You didn't have the 15-foot rule back then.
No, then
whatever
everyone,
that
they
is.
smoked then. Everyone
yeah, they could actually
everywhere.
smoke in the studio
Oh,
in their
absolutely.
offices. Yeah, but back then I think they used to go if the kids were because the kids would have to line up. There was a big door,
right?
That like a garage door, and they would line up all the kids, and then all of a sudden, you wouldn't see Bozo out of costume. They were very professional about that because they wanted the reveal for the kids, so they would get all nuts about it. But if you went down the wrong hallway, you might see Bozo with his hair off, smoking a cigarette.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, leaning up
That would
against
scare a
a
kid.
wall. Hey, baby.
And the bowling alley.
How you doing?
Told was it Waveland Bowl or something?
Waveland Bowl?
Yeah,
Waveland Bowl.
It's still
Absolutely.
there, isn't it? Yeah, I
Yep.
was just there not too long ago. 2 years ago.
Where they would go after work. And not necessarily go bowling, but they would go to the bar at the Waveland Bowl.
We had
and-
pizza there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Cookie and Wizzo and all those guys. And they had stories. One of my favorite stories from that era was that lived down legendarily was from the Ray Rayner era, where Ray Rayner, Chelveston the Duck, right? There was a duck on the Ray Rayner show. Every morning, there was a duck, right? And this is Chelveston the Duck. Well, as it turns out, there were a number of Chelvestons. As a matter of fact, probably in a week, there were a number of Chelvestons.
What was happening to Chelveston?
Were they killing them?
Because a
What?
white duck doesn't really last that long anyway. So, because the duck didn't live at Channel 9. The duck had to be moved. The duck belonged to, some sort of, duck
On a
service.
farm, maybe, or
something.
whatever.
I don't know, whoever would
So they
deliver would deliver the duck. And what they would do is, Tom Skilling tells this story great. I heard this one night from Tom.
I'm like shocked. You're kind of ruining a childhood memory for me.
I know.
So they had Chelveston delivered every morning at I think Ray Rayner went on the air at 6:30 or 6 or something like that in the morning. So I think the duck got there at 4:30 in the morning. Whatever the guy was who was the duck deliverer would deliver the duck in a cage to the Continental Broadcasting Company on Bradley Place,
Bradley
the
Place.
northwest side of Chicago.
Through
And
those garage doors.
the duck would be sitting there waiting. Well, on one night, they delivered the duck, and it was like a polar vortex moment. It was like a super, like in 1978,
no.
like super cold, night.
Oh.
And the intern who was responsible for going out and getting the duck
It wasn't me.
Oh,
It was not
Judy?
did not get the duck until, and they literally it
Oh,
was
that's
Scrape 'em?
sad.
Yeah.
a duxicle out in the cage.
That would have been a good character.
And and you expected the duck to be there every day because the duck,
Right.
it's like because Ray Rayner go Chelveston. What do you think about the traffic? And it was like
Did they still use the duxicle and just pretend?
No,
Scarf around him, maybe a little hat?
I think as I seem to recall the story as it went, and it's probably changed over the years. But as I seem to recall the story was that they, in a deep shot, they would show the duck in the background.
Very, very
Right.
still.
He never had a moment
Rock still.
because the duck would walk around the set, and it's almost like the GN Morning News. That's the thing about the WGN Morning News. They had just turned 25, and congratulations to them.
Huge success.
But Ray Rayner was he was the news.
Like the first newscaster.
Right. Because he would do the news.
Yeah.
And then he would do the traffic. And they would have a rolling film of a helicopter over all the expressways. And it would be like middle of the winter and they'd show a summer expressway.
That's all you got.
Right? Because they didn't actually have the helicopter up for
Nobody really
him.
cared. Yeah.
But that's how they did what they did. And now that's it. So that the mornings on Channel 9 have always been this, kind of fun, storied, legendary thing.
Yeah.
Right. So
kind of a duck house, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It was very ducked up, I can tell you that.
Oh, gee.
But they went on without it.
It was a different duck.
Yes, there was that.
And it was a different time, as we're learning from your experiences. Yeah. Some of the things that were okay then and not okay today.
Oh, right. Not okay. No. That would not be okay. Even bringing probably a duck in a cage to a studio.
No. So,
well, you know what? My favorite Bozo story, because what happened to me, I was an intern and I was walking down the hall one day. Very innocent, as you know I am. Mm-hmm. And the director of the Bozo show, Ed Hall. Is that his name? Yeah, Ed Hall. Called me. He's like, hey, you intern girl, come here. I need you. I'm like, it's Ed Hall calling me. I ran over there and he said, yeah, we're going to need you to be here in about 10 minutes. Just stand here and we're going to get you pie in the face and you can go back to wherever you're from. I'm like, okay, what do I know? And yeah, it was a Friday the 13th episode. At this point, they had been recording them just like 2 weeks ahead, I think. It wasn't even not a year ahead, but
it was live, man. It was live in the day.
And so
That's
it was
crazy.
Almost live, but still recorded. So it was for a Friday the 13th episode. I was on stage and I stood there, blah, blah, whatever. They picked me from the audience. And Cookie threw a pie at Bozo and he ducked and it hit me right in the face. I, being a thespian, didn't even move. It was shaving cream.
That's what they used?
Yeah, my eyes were burning. And I went back to the promotions department. They're like, what in God's name happened to your hair? It's just shaving cream. I'm fine. I don't know that I ever even explained it.
She got stuck with the big band back there. I don't know what happened.
Were you in the hallway with Bozo again? No.
My God.
Judy.
Too soon.
Too much.
For a lot of people. No, so it was my pie in the face, and I have a picture of it. Someone did stamp a picture right at the moment. It was.
And you were okay with it? Were you kind of, it was a fun day at work?
It was a good story for a while. And when my eyes stopped burning, and I could breathe again, because I'm sure my mouth was open too. I really.
Oh boy!
How about telling me I just assumed it was whipped cream.
I would too.
Right?
I always thought those were whipped cream when you see them.
Think about it, shaving cream really
on the show.
Holds well.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that what they told you? Yeah, that's shaving cream so much better than whipped cream.
They didn't. Yeah, exactly. Afterward,
it holds its form.
I was crying, standing there with my lawyer.
Workman's comp.
Now, Judy, you would have to have a lawyer with all the time.
Oh, God.
She's suing Bozo posthumously right now.
I stayed another year as an intern. I love this job.
Class action for everyone who had a pie in their face. Judy's the lead plaintiff.
Judy Pielach. Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense now.
Seems to happen.
My whole life made sense.
So while you were in college, you were doing that, or did you do it right after?
After I graduated from college, and I was looking for a job, and they're like, "Hey, we've got this." I'm like, "Intern."
And then and GN Radio was still upstairs at Bradley Place at that point.
Downstairs, in the basement.
It was in the basement?
Yes. And so, but that was my foot in the door. I took that job and it was promoted. I loved it. And I stayed for 2 years, but it was a paid internship.
Oh,
so that's how they were back then.
Don't do that anymore.
I don't care. I was living at home. It was great.
Right.
And then from there, I went on to the newsroom. And that's how I got, my job.
When you got home, Judy, why is your hair standing up like that?
I am sitting in this chair today because of that pie in the face.
See?
Thank you.
You withstood it.
Yeah.
You lived through it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We call that row strong.
Yeah.
Exactly. Still wear my band when I need it. Usually every day. I put it on for my nap.
Yeah. Don't ask me. There's some of Bozo. I can't. You know what? They told me not to talk about it at work.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Judy, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Don't forget.
Good seeing you,
Great to
Judy.
be on your show.
You can see Judy.
Very weird.
Your show.
You can see Judy on Saturday at the Goodwill store in Lake Zurich, which is on Rand Road in Lake Zurich, noon to 2, right? All kinds of cool stuff. And come on out, and if you've got stuff to drop off at Goodwill or stuff to pick up at Goodwill, there's always something.
There's always something going on at Goodwill.
Right.
And it's usually good.
746 South Rand Road in Lake Zurich, and that is Saturday from noon until 2.
See you there.